I mean, I love the idea that John Carney was going to be doing it, or I was a fan of once, so and I liked his mixture of music without it feeling like we were stopping for a musical number. And so I was intrigued by that, but then it's usually at the top of my priority list is characters first, or is it something that turns me on as far as a story goes. And so, yeah, I love the character. I could relate to him in some minor ways, and knew people who I felt were immediately came to mind when I was reading it. So I thought I could do something interesting with it, and it seemed like a big enough personality where you could really chew up the scenery a little bit too. Sorry.
But I enjoyed watching you chew up the scenery.
Yes.
I loved it.
Sometimes you're looking at me like this.
Like, ooh, that much? Okay. I think, I got to the end of doing a film called Anna Karenina, and I realised that the sort of previous 5 years worth of work had been very, very, very dark, and I wanted to do something that was lighter and had hope in it. And this was the first script that I read with that in mind, that made me feel good, and actually feel good, and not feel like I'd been drowned in sugar.
It was just really special from the beginning, and I think we've all kind of said that in some version of that. The feeling was special. We all loved John and what he had done before, and what Mark said about the musical aspect of it. There's nothing I'm kind of more allergic to than something feeling forced, and as you launch into song for no apparent reason, and you don't know what it is, whether it's a musical or a movie. And this I will definitely fight anyone on that says it's a musical, because it's not. It's a movie where music is kind of the central theme and is used very organically, the way that it would be happening in real life, which immediately makes it not a fantastical kind of musical atmosphere. It's not Broadway. It's a movie about music, which is very different. So I'm glad you said that, because people have actually called it a musical, and I've been like, it's not a musical. It resembles a musical in no way. So
No.
I like that about it.
Well, I think he's at the bottom of kind of a midlife crisis. His life is sort of crumbling in his hands, and it doesn't really know where to turn. It feels really empty and doesn't know who or what he is anymore. And he sort of meets her and sort of takes a journey of remembering what it is exactly that he does best, and why he's important in the world. What gives him feeling of wholeness.
I think Greta is somebody who thinks that she knows exactly where she's going, and with somebody that she thinks is absolutely solid, in a life that she thinks is absolutely solid, and all of a sudden the rug is pulled out from underneath her, and everything disappears, and who she is disappears, and who she's with disappears, and she suddenly has to find a way to pick herself up and stand on her own 2 feet and do something for herself when she hasn't necessarily done that, and to find her people. So it's a kind of journey to that for her.
Kira's been saying things about how really the music is one part, is a huge aspect of the movie, but it's just, these are still just stories about people, and the things that happen between people, regardless of whether there's music involved or not, or fame or success. Yeah, it's interesting actually, because as Mark's character is kind of sinking in the beginning, Dave's character is kind of rising, and I think that's really interesting. And in the middle of it all, quite literally, is Greta. So Greta being kind of the central character in having an effect on both people is really fascinating.
My fingers did bleed from practicing the guitar. I was practicing it a lot. I learnt that I could not play the songs and sing the songs at the same time. It's a very difficult thing to do. Who knew? So they did various takes where they saw my fingers in vaguely the right position for the chords, and then I'd be singing it, but never at the same time. I'm not a natural guitarist in any way. In fact, I haven't picked it up since. Yeah, didn't I?
I didn't notice.
Look at that
that.
acting.
I would have
Hey?
never.
I am a stickler for that kind of stuff. When I
Yeah.
see something that's off with that kind of thing,
Yeah.
and not
And
once
was
did I
no
notice it.
good.
How was the bass playing? Is it actually
Fantastic.
Okay.
Go my good.